Thank you very much to the organizers. I'm very honored to be here, and thank you for the Sloan Foundation and the Creative Destruction Lab for funding this. This is joint work with Ben Larson over there at the Copenhagen Business School, Michael Webb over there, back there. They're both on the market, so be on the lookout next year, coming this season. And this also with Tino Cuellar, who's a California Supreme Court justice, but previously was at the faculty of the law school. So now, green one, okay. So as chatbots are replacing customer service representatives, we see autonomous driving actually on the roads, and there were fatalities, first fatality. Machine learning to predict cancer, diagnose drugs. There's this call for regulation now. Okay, so what should we do about this new technology, and how should this be regulated? But as of now, we're at a very nascent stage. We're experiencing this new technology. How should it be actually regulated is a big debate in itself. We know very little of its effect, and potentially regulation, as several of these people here have examined new technology and regulating new technology, have certain ramifications. So the question here we're asking is, how would regulation of AI affect businesses? How would they actually change their firm behavior? So currently out there, there's a lot of debate of, okay, what's the right way to regulate? Recently, there was a proposition of the Algorithm Accountability Act, which is a general AI regulation, very broad-stroked, saying that, okay, firms might need to disclose and certain aspects, all of their aspects pretty much related to their use and potential impact of their regulation. And currently, we don't know which agency should regulate that. But also, specific agencies in specific industries have been active in trying to discuss or lay out foundations of regulation. For instance, the FDA in the healthcare, NHTSA in transportation, the FTC in retail. So there are these industries where this debate has been going on, and there are already existing common laws, for instance, like tort law, civil rights law, that firms are subject to. Also, there's data privacy regulation like the GDPR, the California Privacy Act, which will be enacted in January coming soon. How would this affect AI adoption, their innovative activities, budget allocation regarding AI-related issues, perception of ethical issues on AI, and adjustment of labor? So that's what this paper is examining. What we do is an online randomized survey, ask survey managers, give them different treatments of different regulations, and see how they differentially respond. There's going to be a control group, 4 main broad treatments, the general AI regulation, very broad stroke, industry-specific regulation invoking that industry agency, a tort law, civil rights law, existing common law regulation, and a data privacy regulation treatment. I'm going to just through a lot of this. In terms of literature, there's a lot that's related, done by people here. I won't go over them in case I miss a few, so I'll just move forward. So the current state of AI regulation, as I just briefly mentioned, there's this broad stroke, okay, it's very hard to regulate, what should we do about it? Another thing about AI is that it's constantly evolving. Algorithms are evolving. How should we actually regulate in this context? What should industries and agencies, how should they communicate about this? And so these are some of the things, and basically, as I mentioned before, those will be the 4 broad themes of our treatment group. I'll try to be able to inform you a bit more about that, but just going through the online survey experiment. So we go ask using SurveyMonkey audience, which is like Amazon Target, but it's different in the sense that we can actually target a certain set of people that we want. So the way we did this, we targeted certain industries, the healthcare sector, the transportation sector, the retail and wholesale, and also only managers, because managers are better aware of how AI is being used in their businesses, target certain size firms, etc. Okay. So in terms of what it looks like is, okay, there's a control group, general AI regulation treatment group. Treatment group 2 is divided into 3 by their industry sample, and then existing AI regulation, tort law, civil rights law treatment, and then data privacy regulation treatment. Basically, they're exposed with a short vignette, which looks like this. I won't have time to read through this, so please go refer to the paper. But basically, the idea is general AI regulation is more of a broad stroke one. This is the current state of each industry, what each agency is doing in terms of regulation, exposing managers to that. And then treatment 3 is about, okay, tort law, civil rights law, the existing AI regulation that firms are subject to anyhow, and data privacy regulation, which is different from AI, but currently in the debates. So going sample is, okay, we've ultimately come up with 1,245 managers using SurveyMonkey audience. Skip over this. This is a balanced randomization. Most are well balanced in terms of their characteristics. Sample size, you can see it's divided here. One thing I want to note here is, okay, when we're actually testing this treatment, the sample will decrease because each industry is only subject to their agency-specific treatment. In terms of what we're going to ask, okay, it's AI adoption. Basically, because AI, the way we explain it to managers is in terms of business processes. How are you using AI? Machine learning, natural language processing, computer vision, specifically those 3 in different business processes. How many would you adopt when you're opposed to these different types of treatment? What are the key here in terms of how would you allocate your budget across several key categories of AI-related issues? For instance, AI R&D, hiring workers, new workers, training existing employees, purchasing packages, AI packages, computer resources, data, and developing AI strategy, strategizing. Another thing is on some, just go over, so innovative activities in terms of patenting, cooperation, and also product or process innovation. Also, in terms of here, ethical issues related to AI, how important are these? Okay, I'm short on time, but, and some ethic questions. How would you, let's see, go over here. So these are the results. Basically, when we have these different 4 regulations, this is the coefficient estimates of the randomization. Results is that regulation decreases AI adoption, okay? But less so for an agency-specific regulation. Okay. Over here, just show the effects. In terms of budget allocation, what happens most is that they spend more on strategy. They decide to spend, okay, we're going to spend more on strategizing. And we consider this as that, okay, now they need to think about the issues related to AI. In terms of innovative activities per se and overall, we don't find any change. In terms of ethical issues, yes, they do respond, and especially related to safety, privacy, and transparency, they respond that, okay, we are now more concerned about these issues as we were confronted with potentially regulation. And in terms of hiring, the most consistent response is that they're planning to hire more managers. So the ultimate thing that we're finding is that, okay, regulation will induce managers, business to actually reduce some adoption, potentially affecting innovative activities, and then allow firms to think a bit more, spend more on strategizing at the expense of, for instance, training their own employees and hiring more managers rather than, for instance, tech workers or other types of workers. So this is the broad-based stroke of the result. And then we go into heterogeneous effects, which I won't have time to go over here. But please do ask any more questions. The results differ by industry and size. And so I did outline this. In terms of implications, I think the right approach could be that regulators need to be aware of these industry-specific and firm-size-specific effects, which I haven't been able to go through, and be, suppose an agency-based approach could be, or better than a very broad-based type of approach to regulation. Thank you.